What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Coin Collector channel. Today I have a 1865 2-cent piece. This is another obsolete coin that is no longer in production in the United States. and this is interesting because of the date. There is so much history to this date, and we'll get into that in a minute. The actual coin itself, I don't have a lot of information on other than the basics. There's not a whole lot of like facts or random pieces of information to give you, but I will tell you the basics. I'll tell you what I do have. Let me flip it around so you can see the backside. But this is, like I said, 1865. The coin, the 2-cent piece only ran for a few years, actually, only from 1864 to 1872. And the reason why it was put into production was because of the Civil War. There was a growing demand in coinage due to the fact that basically all of the American people were hoarding their coins for good reason. So the United States Mint needed to find more coins to put in production, so they came up with the 2-cent piece. At the time, there was already the 3-cent piece and the nickel. And the actual reason this coin went out of production is because the 3-cent piece and the nickel was just a lot more popular with the American people. So this coin is 95% copper and 5% zinc. It was designed by James Longacre. There are no mint marks because they were all printed in Philadelphia. And there, of this year, the 1865, there was 13 million coins minted, which is more than the next, which is more than all of the years that came after 65 put together, actually. So, a lot of these coins were minted. There were more minted in 64. I'm not sure on the exact number, but I know that there were more minted in 64 than 65. I think just by a little bit, but still, not a very rare coin at all. Really, the rarity comes with basically if it's in great condition and if it is if there's any double stamps or double dies, if there was a broken die. And the simplest rarity you can find is the plain 5 versus fancy 5, and I'll show you what I mean by that. As you can see, I have it written here that says plain 5 on the front of the coin here. The obverse, you can see the 1865 written at the bottom is the 5 has a flat top. And that's what makes it the plain 5. If it was, if the number 5 had a very large scroll or like a flare at the top of the 5, that's called the fancy 5. And contrary to what the name says, the plain 5 is actually more rare. So I do have a plain 5, which is good, but because it's not in good condition, that really doesn't matter. I'll tell you the values here. With the fancy 5, so the one that I do not have, the value of a good condition coin is about $25, but the proof condition can be on average around $8,000. Now, the record though for an auction with the fancy 5 was in 2014. One of them sold for $25,000. So theoretically, it could go up to $25,000. Now, with the plain 5, the one that I have, the one that's just a little bit more rare, not by a whole lot, but just it is a little bit more rare. The value of a good coin, which honestly I'm not even sure if they would grade this one a good they might if I was lucky, but in reality, probably not. Either way, with a good coin, with the plain 5, it's about $30. And with a proof, if you manage to have a proof plain 5 1865 2-cent coin, you're looking at about $30,000 at auction. And that's really all the information that I have for you about this coin. But what's great is that this year, 1865, is just riddled with American history. So I can go ahead and fly into some of that. Right now, obviously, the Civil War ended in 1865. Slavery was abolished. The President Lincoln, of course, was assassinated. Secret Service was created. Andrew Johnson became the 17th president. He was Lincoln's vice president. And, of course, once he was assassinated, he took over and became the 17th president. 300 people were killed in Mobile, Alabama, in an explosion. It was actually an ordnance depot for the Civil War, I suppose. The ordnance depot exploded and actually killed around 300 people. I found this very interesting. Wild Bill Hickok and Davis Tutt had their famous shootout over poker. And this is considered the first ever Western fast draw showdown happened with Wild Bill Hickok and Davis Tutt in this year, in 1865. And also, Champ Ferguson became the first of only 2 convicted war criminals during the American Civil War. So only 2 people were convicted of war crimes during the entire war, and one of them being Champ Ferguson. He was convicted first in 1865. And a little bit of personal lore with that. The person that actually was sent to find Champ Ferguson and bring him to justice was a man named Tinker Dave Beatty. Tinker being his nickname, obviously. He is actually a relative of mine. On one side of my family, I'm kin to the Beatties, and it's actually in my family tree that Tinker Dave Beatty was a direct descendant, or a direct relative. I'm a direct descendant, I suppose. But he knew Champ Ferguson, I suppose, from before the war, from what I could read, and he actually was the one who ended up running him down and finding him, and you know, he was the reason that Champ Ferguson was eventually, you know, hanged for his war crimes. So that's pretty interesting. That this there's a lot of history around the Civil War from where I live, and that's just a interesting piece of history that I had no idea was connected to one of the coins that I have. So with that being said, the people that could have carried this coin, of course, there's just a plethora of people that could have. Anybody from, you know, President Lincoln himself, or the vice president, and later president, you know, Andrew Johnson. John Wilkes Booth could have carried this coin with him into the theater. Ulysses S. Grant could have carried it into battle with him, and with this coin in his pocket. Robert E. Lee could have carried it, obviously, on the other side. Wild Bill Hickok could have won this exact coin in a poker game that eventually became the reason for the first Wild West fast draw showdown. You know, this exact coin right here could have been the reason, or one of the reasons, why that even took place, which is so incredible to me. Champ Ferguson could have used this coin to buy his last meal before Tinker Dave Beatty ran him down and got him for his war crimes. And Tinker Dave could have had it in his pocket. And that's what I love about these coins, and especially this one. there's just a endless supply of history behind this one single coin. And that's my favorite part of this coin specifically. There's nothing fancy or great about it in terms of looks, in my opinion, but just the time period alone is what makes it so important. And that's all the information I have for you today on this coin. Hope you guys found some information. And if you were researching this coin, I hope you figured out what you were looking for. And if you did, leave me a like and maybe a subscribe to see what else I upload. Right now I'm uploading on Fridays and Tuesdays. Tuesdays being the treasure chest video shorts, YouTube shorts, and Fridays being my regular history, of coins upload. So stick around if you want to see more. Thank you.